Good evening, friends. I am Babu, an advocate at High Court for the state of Telangana. The second part of the first article is India, that is Bharat. After that, it shall be Union of States. Please remember, it is not Federation of States. Please also remember, there is no difference being federal and unitary. Honorable Supreme Court in S.R. Bommai case of 1994 held that India was federal and that elected governments in the state should survive. I told you in my previous videos that these both observations were constitutionally wrong. Dr. Ambedkar opposed to the proposal of K.T. Shah, a socialist member, to add socialist, secular and federal into the constitutional preamble. In spite of that, Congress party in 1976, under the Prime Ministers of Srimati Indira Gandhi, through 42nd Amendment, introduced the word socialist and secular into the preamble against the wish of Dr. Ambedkar. Yet she did not introduce the word federal. So how the Honorable Supreme Court bring that word federal into the judgment? Please understand, federal means central. It does not denote relationship between center and the states. But unfortunately, the whole constitution, especially important articles of the constitution, were misunderstood and the country went into difficulties. For example, they could not understand what is meant by sovereign, what is meant by democracy, what is meant by republic. At the same time, they could also not understand what is meant by aid and advice used under Article 74. It is the duty of the ministers to aid and advise the President of India in exercising his duties. Unfortunately, Indians understood that advice is a command. It is a question of common sense. How advices can be commands? Command and order are of a different genre. Advice is something else the other party may or may not heed to. At the same time, we also understood secular means respecting of all religions. That is not what is contained in the English dictionary. And again, federal. Federal, we understood that states are independent. They can fight against the union. They can call names the prime minister. And they can commit any amount of fraud. And yet state cannot take any action against them. Is it in the interest of the country? No, not at all. America is federal expressly. There the central government is called federal government. At least by this, we should understand that federal means central and nothing else. But the relationship between center and the states are governed by express provisions of the constitution, but not by the word federal or something else. You may call federal, unitary or whatever, association, whatever you can call. But the relationship should be governed by express provisions of the constitution. You cannot ignore the express provisions of the constitution. In America, states have their own constitutions, their own flags, name, status, extent of the states cannot be altered by the parliament or the president without written consent of the assembly of that state. Whereas in India, the states can be obliterated, can be wiped out from the map of India with their names under Article 3 of the Constitution. Of course, again, there also is a misunderstanding. Article 3 is only an empowering article. How to go about, how to do the division of states, is contained in Article 55, 80, 81 and 170. That we didn't understand. Article 3 is only knee-deep of the constitutional ocean. We are reading Article 3, which is only an empowering article, and we are going on dividing the country into states in whichever fashion we like, due to political demands or for political expediency or on linguistic basis. This is all unconstitutional. It is an atrocity against the constitution. This way, constitutional language has been misunderstood by all the Indian institutions, which led to serious breakdown of the constitutional mechanism. Whether unitary or federal, the purpose of a constitution is to clearly define relationship between the center and the states. And the purpose is to keep the country united and going. But in India, this kind of misunderstood federalism has become responsible for interstate conflicts, state and the center conflicts, and whoever people in power presently oppressing the opposition parties, the central government engaging income tax, ED and CBI against the state leaders. It has become almost a political havoc, which is most likely to lead to division of this country in due course of time. Pakistan also, in their constitution, mentioned that Pakistan shall be federal. But I tell you, my dear friends, Pakistan has neither federal character, nor unitary character, nor democratic character. Because there, a chief minister has power to advise the governor to dissolve the assembly, whereupon the governor has to dissolve the assembly within 48 hours. Otherwise, the assembly is deemed dissolved. Again, a prime minister is empowered to advise the president of Pakistan to dissolve the parliament, which he has to do within 48 hours. If he doesn't do that, the parliament is deemed dissolved after 48 hours. And within 90 days, they have to go for elections. That is not democracy at all. Who is any Tam, Dick and Harry to cancel or to dissolve the publicly elected houses? And who is anybody to terminate the membership of public elected people? That is not democracy at all. Unfortunately, we are also following the same system in India. Under Pakistan Constitution Article 48, President has to follow the advice of the Council of Ministers. Their constitution is of 1973. Unfortunately, the same condition has come into Indian Constitution in 1976. So America is expressly federal, and they have taken safeguards to see that America is united, doesn't get disintegrated. Pakistan expressly said it was a federal, but it has no federal or democratic character, and we are seeing what kind of political turmoil is there. Prime ministers are imprisoning prime ministers. Some prime ministers are being hanged to death. Some prime ministers are fleeing the country. That is the kind of anarchy, turmoil due to their imperfect constitution. In this context, I also inform you, my dear friends, Indian constitution or Indian model has destroyed all its neighboring countries also. Believing Indian constitution to be the best in the world, largest in the world, they have adopted sections from Indian constitution. Our neighboring countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Myanmar, all these countries were destroyed because they are very small. India is still able to sustain this onslaught because it is very big like an elephant. But don't believe that this elephant would be able to bear all this onslaught for long. Great Britain is a parliamentary democracy because people elect parliament members elect the prime minister, he rules the country. This is an indirect election of the prime minister, yet he has power. There is only hereditary king, no elected president. But whereas in India, there is an elected president. But we don't have an elected prime minister. Who elected Manmohan Singh? Who elected Rajiv Gandhi when he became prime minister for the first time? When we say president of India is indirectly elected, and hence he does not have powers. But how Britain prime minister is having powers? He is also indirectly elected. But do these people mean to say that prime minister is directly elected in India? Or a chief minister is directly elected in India? After all, they are elected by hardly 100 MLAs or 272 Lok Sabha members. But President of India is elected by 4,200 MLAs and 770 parliament members. And moreover, please remember, election of prime minister and chief minister in the parliament of the assembly is contained in Pakistan constitution under article 91 and 130. Such provisions are not there in Indian constitution. In Indian constitution, there is only President of India, who is the only executive in India, is elected under article 55 without issuing a whip. India is not parliamentary democracy. It is a presidential democracy like US. Many people say American president is directly elected and hence he has so much power. This again is a misnomer. People do not vote for the president in America. They elect electors. They are almost equal to our parliament members. These electors will elect the President of America. In India also the same system. He is also elected by the Electoral College in America. Indian President is also elected by Electoral College consisting of MLAs in both houses of Parliament. Thus we can equate Indian President with American President, and they have even more power. And we specifically mentioned that India shall be democratic republic. Republic means a country which is ruled by an elected or nominated president. Under Indian constitution, prime minister is appointed by the president under article 75 and removed at his pleasure. And state chief minister and ministers are appointed by the governor under article 164 and they are removed at the pleasure of the governor. The Prime Minister of Pakistan shall be appointed by the President of Pakistan. India also, the Prime Minister shall be appointed by the President of India. They have copied exactly the same wording but added that the Prime Minister of Pakistan shall be appointed by the President of Pakistan subject to confirmation of his majority in the parliament. That wording is not there in Indian constitution. As such, please remember, India shall be union of states, not federation of states, and whether you call it federal or unitary, the relationship between union and the states should be governed by express provisions of the constitution. They cannot be ignored due to our ignorance of the meaning of the word federal or unitary. This has created a lot of political complications, conflicts, and ultimately it may lead to bifurcation of the country tomorrow. I will pose you one question. Supposing the small or regional parties gain two-thirds majority in both houses of the parliament, none agrees the other to become prime minister. So the best option they find would be that the country shall be divided into 30 pieces so that every one of them can become prime minister of each respective piece of the land. Please tell me with all your legal and constitutional knowledge, who can stop this? We have a misunderstanding that President of India is bound by the advice of the Council of Ministers. In this case, the Council of Ministers will advise the President of India to accept the resolution. We are also under another misnomer that under Article 111, President of India is bound to assent to the bills sent to him by the Parliament. That is also not totally correct. When the Constitution is likely to be destroyed, when the law is to be violated, and the welfare of the people, of the citizens is to be violated, the President is not supposed to assent to bills having regard to his oath of office under Article 60. He takes oath to preserve, protect and defend the Constitution of India and the law, and to devote himself for the service, for the welfare and well-being of the citizens of India. Having taken such a oath, should he give assent to bifurcation of the country into 30 pieces because of political expediency? Under these circumstances, what we are presently following, it is possible. In 2029 elections, if these parties get two-thirds majority in both houses of parliament, probably in 2030 we will be in different countries. It may become like a European Union. Supposing the President of India does not want to assent to this bill, they will remove him through no confidence motion, or they may offer him also one state like Goa. Sir, you take Goa and sign the papers. It is possible. But please think over for a while. Supposing President of India has been recognized as the executive power of the Union under Article 53 and 73, and he has been exercising all the powers given to him under the Constitution over the entire India as held by Article 73 of the Constitution. Would he assent to take a small state of Goa? Would he assent for bifurcation of the country? Would he not invoke provisions of Article 352 and nab all these partition leaders? If you want such things to happen, please remember, we have to recognize the powers of the President given to him under the Constitution, and he should rule. He is the only elected authority in India. Kidnapping him in the Rashtrapati Bhavan or confining him in the Rashtrapati Bhavan, unelected, his servants are ruling. Servants should not rule, the king should rule. Please understand the Constitution. I request you to kindly subscribe, share and comment on my videos. I will be glad to reply to you. This I have taken as my life mission to spread the message of the Constitution during my lifetime. Thank you for watching my video.